That's hour number 1 of Matt Mcs Sports Fix. Coming up in hour number 2, we're talking with Scott Pytlik from gameprosports.com about Madden and Madden NFL producer, senior producer, lead designer. Phil Frazier is going to join us. He's talking everything there is to talk about, the newest version of Madden NFL 10.
It's Matt Mcs Sports Fix with Matt McClusky, covering all of your North Country sports on ESPN 1410, The Winner.
We are back on Matt Mcs Sports Fix, hour number 2. Joining me on the phone right now on the Sports Fix hotline, Scott Pytlik from gameprosports.com. He's an editor there for that group. Scott, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me on.
Very excited about this. First and foremost, editor of gameprosports.com. You review sports games, huh?
Yeah.
How great is that?
It's great. I got to combine both passions, video games and sports. So it's a pretty good gig. I enjoy it.
Oh, that's honestly, it's got to be one of the better jobs you can get. I highly recommend it if you got the means on that one. Well,
yeah, absolutely.
You know, before we even hit Madden here, just in reviewing games, playing sports games all the time, what's the best game, maybe not necessarily the highest reviewed game, but just personally the most fun, the best game you like in terms of games you've been able to play reviewing for GameProSports.com?
Let me think. Well, for GamePro Sports, well, I guess I'd have to say in the beginning it was NFL 2K5. Way back when, that's still one of my favorite football games. Lately, it's been NBA 2K9. I can't get enough of that game. I still play it like at least twice a week. I'm really hoping and waiting for NBA 2K10 to come out. I'm going to get an early look at that sometime. So I'm looking forward to that game.
You get games early, right? So that must be a real huge perk to this job as well. You just go to the mailbox, is it, and you got a new game?
Yeah, usually that's the way it works. I mean, it depends. It depends on the connections that you have, the friends that you make, and the PR side of things. But for the most part, yeah. I mean, if we can request games and they have them available for us, then yeah, we can get them ahead of time.
When they come, are they different color? I don't know why I'm hung up on this, but I kind of am. Are they different colored? Are they the same thing in the same box as what you can buy, or is it a special edition?
No, it depends. If you're going to work at a gaming outlet, like I live out in Massachusetts, and I freelance, and that's part of the job with GamePro Sports. And you have to have a debug console, which is it's a special version of a console from either Microsoft or Sony, and they'll send you early versions of the game that have a code that has to be debugged in order for you to even play it. So it's a huge advantage if you can have one of those. Otherwise, usually the PR reps can get you out an early retail version of the game. So I have one just like everyone else will have one tomorrow. I just got it shipped to me, earlier last week.
Nice.
That's all.
I mean, speaking of Scott Pytlik from GameProsports.com. All right, let's get into this Madden NFL 10. You've been playing it now for about a week and a half. You get the game like that early, like we mentioned. What's the first team you played? How do you go about reviewing this game? Do you pick your favorite one? What's the game plan when you get a game?
For me, it was most definitely the Patriots. Being I grew up in Connecticut, and I've been living in Massachusetts for 7-8 years now, and the Pats have always been my boys. So I jumped on that real quick. I was excited to play with Brady since he was out all last year, and I can't wait for the game against the Eagles later today.
Me either.
Finally see how he is. But yeah, first thing I want to get into is like the gameplay when I'm looking at it and just see what's different. I played some of NFL 09 last year. I didn't purchase it. I'm the kind of guy that will rent it, and then if I think it's good, I'll buy it. Especially with the Madden series and how everybody talks about you'll get more of the same year in year out, or if it's just a glorified roster update. So sometimes I don't want to drop the $60 on it, but this year I think I'd say it would be worth the money. They've done enough to make it different from last year.
Well, I've read your review on GameProsports.com today. The first thing that stuck out to me, one of the first things you actually mentioned in your review, the game is slower than normal, but you say that's a good thing. Yeah,
absolutely. That was immediately the first thing that I noticed, probably after the pretty good graphics that I thought were better at least than NFL 08 when I played that. The graphics were better, but then the next thing that you immediately notice is on your first pass play, you drop back, and you're just like, wow, everything feels like it's running in slow motion, because Madden, the old Madden, it's hectic, and you almost have to just guess on which button you're going to throw it to and which receiver you're going to throw it to, because otherwise you're going to get sacked. But that's not the case this year. It's much slower. You can really look at all your receivers as they're running down the field, and you don't have to worry about getting sacked because the pocket, at least for the Patriots, because they have a good O-line, it forms around you, and if you're about to get sacked, your controller will shake to kind of signal that the pressure's on, and then you can look back at your guy, and either try to dodge him or you just try to throw it away or what have you.
So you basically, I guess basically all things considered, it's more realistic than previous editions?
Yeah, I'd say so, absolutely. I've read a lot of complaints from people, from diehard Madden fans that are having time. I think they're just having trouble adjusting to the slowness of it, how it's a little bit different. But I think it makes it more realistic. I think the player's running speed is much more realistic now than it was in the past, and so that to me is what Madden NFL football is all about, is trying to get the most realistic simulation version of football that you can. If you're the kind of player that you play it and you think, hey man, this sucks, it's not for me, you can just go into the options and change up the gameplay speed and put it back to the way it used to be.
Speaking with Scott Pytlik from gameprosports.com, a couple of new features too. I know there's Pro Tack. Can you explain for the listeners what they're going to expect out of that? That's on defensive side of the ball, that Pro Tack or Pro Tackling?
Yeah, it's actually, I would say it's throughout the game. You notice it, and it's subtle, I think, unless I would say most people that are not football fans that just try to jump into this probably won't notice it, but for most football fans and for the diehard Madden fans, they're gonna realize that procedural tackling and what they dubbed Pro Tack, it's an all new physics engine, and it completely makes the game much more realistic. And the way I guess football games and sports games in general work in the past is they'll go out and they'll do a motion capture session with a couple athletes, and they'll capture, say, 1,000, 2,000 moves, and they put those into the game, and that's how you would see a tackle performed or a block made or a catch performed. And now what they do is this new physics engine takes into account your middle linebacker's speed ability, his strength, how quickly he's running, his acceleration, and then also what angle he's coming at. So then when he goes to hit, the running back, it's going to take all those variables and apply them to the running back's similar variables of how fast he's going. Is he, in the first stage of getting his run going, or is he in the second stage where he's breaking through and really getting speed? And it quickly crunches all those numbers and then applies it to one of those 1,000 or 2,000 motion captured animations, and that changes it. It makes it look realistic. It looks just like it would in real football. It also allows you to move the huddle. The huddles now move. You can get 8 or 9 men gang tackling in one play. It's crazy.
That's very cool. And there's also a fight for the fumble type of feature as well.
Oh yeah. I'm not sure if I like it yet or not. I've only had to deal with it maybe 3 times. And the first time I did, it caught me off guard. I had no idea what the hell was going on. And you're just pretty much prompted to mash a button, either X or A, depending on what system you're playing it on, but it'll change it up on you. And, you'll be mashing X, and then it'll tell you to mash A, and you got to quickly mash that. And the computer is supposedly doing the same thing against you, and whoever wins the battle gets the fumble. But you can turn that option off and just put it back to the way it was if you don't like it.
Okay. Well, a couple of cool new features here. Speaking with Scott Pytlik from gameprosports.com, his official review for Madden NFL 10 out today. Highly recommend you check that out. Something you mentioned a little bit, the vibration system, the quarterback tingling in the pocket, maybe 3-4 seconds, a little too long. You get that tingle feature, I guess. I don't know what else to call it here. What are your thoughts on that?
Tingling. I don't know if EA Sports would.
Maybe not the most football term.
Guys dub it that, but no, it's pretty much like that. I think in my review I called it like QB sense, kind of like a spider sense. It starts to vibrate, and it's a good thing. It's a contextual way to let you know that you have some trouble coming, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get sacked. It just means that the guys are dangerously close to you. So you may want to look back at your quarterback, because since you're staring down the field at your receivers, you want to look back at your quarterback, and you can just move them in the pocket. The best thing about it is now that the Pro Tack allows for a realistic pocket, you can just dance around in it like a real quarterback would, and and give yourself that extra couple seconds to throw to the right guy.